Happy New Year, everybody. I'm back. Oh, and I did make it at 5 o'clock. I just looked at the clock and went, oh my God, it's 5 o'clock and I haven't started yet. But I just made it before it ticked over to 5:01 because I like to be punctual. Anyway, welcome. Today's live topic, I'm going to be talking about the Jar of Good Things challenge. And this is something that we started this week in my free Facebook group. But first of all, just a bit of an introduction for people who don't know me. So I'm Jen and I'm passionate about using brain science and my psychology degree to help women put themselves first, which is a tough concept for many, in order to be better mothers, sisters, friends, partners, etc. I'm also the host of the free Facebook group Highly Sensitive Extroverts with Jen. So if you are what's referred to as an HSP or highly sensitive person and you're an extrovert, so best way to describe this is, best thing to do is Google HSP and extrovert if you don't know what they are. But what I've noticed is most of us kind of know whether we're introverts or extroverts, but what I've found is that people who fit the category of highly sensitive extroverts, we kind of feel like we don't really belong in either category. So we read the definition of extroverts and we go, yes, that's me, but not all the time. And then when we're with other highly sensitive people, we don't really feel like we fit there either, and that's because the majority of highly sensitive people are actually introverted. In fact, 70% of highly sensitive people are introverts. So if you are highly sensitive and you're an extrovert, then you're truly unique, and that's something to embrace and be proud of, which I'm learning and starting to do myself. But anyway, I digress. So if you are a highly sensitive extrovert, we would love to have you join our group. The reason I created it is because we make up only about 6% of the population. We have different struggles, different challenges, so that's where the group comes in. And I also wanted to draw your attention to a free guide I created. So if you haven't already, downloaded it already, there's a link in the post attached to this video. It's called Feel Fantastic in 3 Simple Steps. So why not do both now? Join the group and download your free guide. And if you're already in the group, perhaps invite a friend who you think might benefit. The Jar of Good Things challenge. So see if you can relate to any of these questions. First of all, do you often find yourself rushing through life and your focus is on your very long, seemingly never-ending to-do list? Also, how often do you consciously stop to smell the roses, so to speak? Do you ever stop, look around, take in the natural beauty that's around you, anything like that? Because a lot of us these days, I think we're just powering through life and we never actually stop to smell the roses. Do you feel like your life is rushing by too fast? The Jar of Good Things, believe it or not, is one way to stop or help in all of these situations I just described. So if you've ever heard the saying, what you focus on expands, it's true and it's based in brain science as opposed to being woo-woo. Not that I'm against being a little woo-woo. In fact, those who know me know that I subscribe to many things that could be called woo-woo, but I do like to do things that are proven to work, particularly in my coaching. It's all based in science and proven psychological tools. So back to the Jar of Good Things. So the problem with the situations I described above, the problem with rushing through life, never stopping to smell the roses, always being focused on the 1,000,001 things you have to do, you actually get stuck in a perpetuating cycle So the more you focus on having too much to do, being too busy, etc., you're actually programming your RAS to show you more of that. So I'll tell you what your RAS is in a minute. So how does this work? So if you think about our brain and the absolutely overwhelming amount of information that is flooding into our brain, all hours, all day, all night, it's actually quite a lot. And I'll give you some figures. So we actually have 1,850 bits of information flooding into our brain every 18th of a second. Now, can you imagine what would happen if we had to pay attention to every single piece of information that was bombarding us? Basically, we'd be stuck in the corner, rocking like a baby, because we just would not be able to cope. So that's where our RAS comes in. So RAS stands for reticular activating system. Bit of a mouthful. That's why RAS is much easier to say. And the best way to think of your RAS is it's kind of like a personal assistant. So what happens is we program our RAS to show us more of what we focus on. And what that does is it then filters that information into our conscious brain rather than flowing through to our subconscious. Because what happens with most of that information that floods into our brain every 18th of a second, the majority of it just goes into our subconscious and we're not actually aware of it. But we can program our RAS to filter certain information to our conscious brain and we become aware of it. So to give you an example of that, think back to last time you bought yourself a new car or a different type of car. And I'll use my car as an example. I can't remember how long ago now, maybe a year ago, I got a new car and it was a Subaru Forester. Now, the interesting thing about Subaru Forester is my dad put me onto it. He was the one who suggested you should get a Subaru Forester. And I didn't even know what they were. I'd probably seen them around, but I didn't know because I don't know much about cars. But what do you think happened when I decided to start looking for a Subaru Forester, and then when I bought a Subaru Forester, what do you think I saw absolutely everywhere, all the time out on the road? I saw heaps of Subaru Foresters. Now, do you think that heaps of people went out and bought a Subaru Forester at the same time that I decided to? No, of course not. They were always there, but I just wasn't aware of them because that information had previously been going to my subconscious as opposed to my conscious brain. But because that type of car, I was focused on that because that's what I was buying, all of a sudden my RAS was going, there's one, there's one, there's one, and I was starting to see them everywhere. So that's basically what our RAS does. It filters that information up to our conscious so that we can be aware of it. So this is where the Jar of Good Things challenge is so powerful. So what is it? You're probably wondering. Some of you might have seen it on Facebook. So it's basically something I saw. One of my friends shared a picture of it on Facebook. And then I thought it was a brilliant idea. So I shared it with my favourite ladies in my Facebook group. And they all got really excited. So we decided to give it a go in 2019. So how it works is this. Ideally, every time you notice something good happen, but at least once a week, I suggest you do it, you write it down on a piece of paper and you put that good thing in your jar of good things. And on New Year's Eve in 2019, you take all the pieces of paper out of the jar and you reread all the fabulous things that happened to you throughout the year. Such an amazing way to round off the year, I think. So the benefits of doing this jar of good things are many, and I'm just going to go through a few of them with you. So first of all, it forces us to slow down a little bit, even if it's only once a week, still better than what most of us do. Forces us to slow down and smell the roses, so to speak. What I mean by that is slow down, stop, in fact, and consciously look around and focus on the good things that are happening to us as well as all around us. And I would suggest that unless you're a Buddhist monk and you're very good at living in the present moment, then you could probably do with hitting the pause button every now and then and taking note of some beautiful good things happening in your world. Number 2, it creates a new habit. So once the practice of pausing and paying attention to good things as they happen becomes a habit, what you will find is that you start to see good things more than bad things. That doesn't mean that bad things will never happen to you. It's just that your focus has shifted to the good things. So it seems as though there are more good things happening in your life. That's because we are programming, as I mentioned, we're programming our RAS to show us the good things. So the more we do it, the more we stop and focus and write down those good things, the more our RAS will filter that information through to our conscious brain for us. So the number of things that we're noticing will increase. Pretty cool. And the last benefit I want to talk to you about is on New Year's Eve 2019, going through your jar of good things, I think provides a really special way to finish off the year because you're focusing on all the wonderful things that filled your life throughout the year. It can also provide, I suppose, some bonding with family and friends. So anybody who shared those special moments with you, you can actually use it to enhance the relationships in your life because you can share those special moments. You can remind those people about the good things that you did together or the good things that happened, the good things in your relationship. You can share those memories and those moments with those people. So I think it is just going to be a really special thing to do on New Year's Eve. I'm going to go through the challenge in a minute, but I think the cool thing that we're going to do differently in the challenge is we're not going to wait all the way till New Year's Eve. We're going to do a little bit differently. So some of you ladies in my group have already started and you've already made your jars and they look amazing, by the way. If you're not in the group and you want to check out the really cool jars that the members have made, then make sure you join the group. Some of you have already gotten your partners and your families on board too, which is so cool, and I can't wait to hear about how doing it together is going to make it so much better. But how does the challenge work, I hear you ask? So step 1 is make your jar. Share a picture in the group. It doesn't have to be fancy. It just needs to be somewhere to keep your little notes. In fact, members of my group have already gotten really creative. So one lady, Jodie, she's actually going to be creating a memory book. So she's actually taking photos of those special moments and of those good things as they happen, and she's going to be pasting those in the book, which is really cool, and I can't wait to see more of her photos. But just do what feels right for you, because the most important thing is that you keep doing it. So it's got to be sustainable. It's got to be something that's kind of relatively non-time consuming and simple to do. So step 1, make your jar, share a picture of your jar in the group. Step 2 is choose the day of the week that you commit to stopping and writing at least one good thing that has happened and putting it in your jar. Now, I'm going to ask you to share in the group what day of the week that is. And the reason I do this is because from a brain perspective, it's actually more helpful to commit to an actual day rather than just saying once a week, I'm going to do this. So commit to an actual day, whether it be every Sunday, every Monday, every Friday, whatever fits best into your schedule. So share that day in the group. And step 4 is, we're not doing it straight away, but each month I will do a check-in post in the group and see how we're all going, and I'll invite everyone to share 1 or 2 things from the previous month. So it'll be kind of a celebration of good things. So this will serve to do a few things. It will remind us all about our commitment, because 52 weeks is a marathon rather than a sprint. So I think it's going to help to have some reminders that we're supposed to be focusing on these good things. As well, it will also provide us with an opportunity to read our good things through the year rather than wait until the very end. So this will remind us about the good things that are happening as we go, as well as provide further motivation to keep going, as well as reinforce the habit of focusing on good things. Lastly, it will also provide an opportunity to celebrate everyone's wins and successes throughout the year. So I'm really excited about this challenge, and I'm so humbled that the ladies in my group just jumped on board, and it was really you guys that caused me to decide to do this and make it an official challenge in the group. So thank you for your enthusiasm. So what are you waiting for? If you're already a member of Highly Sensitive Extroverts, then post a pic of your jar in the group. Tell us what day of the week you commit to stopping and writing at least one good thing down. And please share one good thing that has happened already. We're already a week into 2019, so please share a good thing in the group. If you're not in the group, then join now and do the steps that I've outlined above. So I can't wait to start celebrating with you all our wins, our successes, and our happy moments. A couple of things before we finish off for today. So first of all, don't forget to download your free guide, 3 simple steps to feel fantastic. The link is in the post attached to this video. And last thing I wanted to say is something really exciting is happening next week. It's the first time I've done this in the group. So I have invited a special guest to do an extra special Facebook Live next week for all my Facebook group ladies. So everybody who's in Highly Sensitive Extroverts. So she's a friend of mine, Yuna Johnson. She's coming live all the way from Norway to do a presentation for you. Same time, same place next week. Replay will be available in the group if you can't make it to the live.